welcome to the Challenge Chronicles. I'm Devin Jordan. I'm with Trace Armstrong and Rob McIntyre. We're here to do our recap of the Challenge Double Agents episode 8. Is that correct?
That's
7,
correct.
I believe. I thought
You
it's
can.
8.
I have no idea. Look it up while I do the rest of the intro. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. We're on Podbean. You can subscribe to it. You can listen to us on YouTube if you get your content through YouTube. You can also find us on Pat Mayo's YouTube channel. If you want to reach out to us and give us any questions, comments, concerns, or listener emails, you can reach us at thechallengechronicles@gmail.com. Challenge merchandise.
It is episode 8, and that means I have a lot of technical issues I need to correct.
Challenge merchandise, Challenge Chronicles merchandise, you can get at bigdubdiesel.com, dub with 2 B's. And as far as the OG's commentary that we were supposed to put out this week, it's not going to happen. We were a little bit too ambitious, and we got busy with a variety of different
life.
I think we just have to say, look, it'll happen. Don't worry about it.
It'll be probably next week. I think it'll probably happen.
I don't think we can put any strict deadlines considering our current timing situation. I think we'll definitely get it out there before there's any official announcements from MTV, barring some odd scenario.
When is this thing supposed to go out? When is it supposed to release?
Oh God, who knows?
I mean, I would assume that if they're filming it right now and have started filming this week.
So are cameras rolling?
From what we understand, yes.
Okay. And it's in Mexico, or where is it?
It's in Argentina, right?
I think so.
Why would they just do it in the States?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, they do the Champs versus Pros and Star seasons all in the States.
Maybe it's too expensive for them to do it in the States.
Probably. And who knows? Maybe it's not as OG of a challenge as we think it is. You know what I mean? Like, it could be OG members, but they're going to try to stick close to the current format for the dailies, which honestly, I don't think that's that bad. Like, I mean, there's only a few dailies that are like completely out there for some of these people. So
this daily would be interesting with that cast.
Rob,
yeah, we'll get to that.
Rob, what kind of odds would I have to give you to not bet on Mark Long to win?
Well, considering the format, it actually it's like 11 guys and 11 women. So that leads me to think it's not like larger teams and it's just individuals or maybe pairs. I would think it's just individuals, which I actually don't like. I'd much prefer a team format for.
Or who knows? Maybe the spoiler cast is not 100% correct.
And maybe
if we find out it's Battle of the Sexes 3, would it have to be like? Would you bet on Mark Long if it was like minus 900? Would you?
Yes, because that's the only one. The only one.
I mean, is there going to be like some like legalities why he can't win or something if he was just involved in the production of the show?
We really don't know how much his involvement was. Yeah, maybe he was just a catalyst to it. Maybe he's just the one that's like, hey, you could structure it this way. But as long as he has
such a rabbit hole at that point, then like Johnny and Wes is going to be showing up to MTV like presenting season ideas where they're clearly like the favorites.
I mean, he just presented the idea that they do the show, right? He didn't present what they were going to do for a season.
No, he seemed relatively involved in at least propositions of the formatting. We don't know what they'll go with.
Yeah. I mean, he was definitely part of saying, hey, let's do this. He was definitely part of this is how we could do this. But the actual design of the dailies, the final stuff like that, if he has zero knowledge of that, I don't have a problem.
I mean, I don't have a problem with any of it. It's just a show to me. So
yeah. But anyway, we'll go more in depth on that on the OG show that's coming up, hopefully next week. We do have a tentative date on the calendar, whereas last week we were speculating. This week we have a tentative date, so we hope to have it out sometime very, very soon, perhaps even with a special guest.
So I thought this episode was pretty mediocre. I didn't think it was bad, but like off the top of my head, not thinking about it.
I think his last few episodes have been really good. Like, I definitely think if this is like the downturn of the episode for this season.
Oh, okay. So you didn't think this one was that great?
I thought it was fine. Like, I think if we put this in the stretch of last season where just nothing was happening, this would have felt like a high watermark.
I know, and so that's what I was going to say. That well, I don't know if it would be a high watermark for last season, but I think this is probably the worst episode of the season. But I don't think it was a bad episode. I thought it was just fine.
Yes, that's exactly the way I was thinking about it. Like, it was entertaining. There was things that happened, but was it like one of those like, oh my gosh, we really need to go back and watch that? Not so much.
Well, like the mission was fun, even if it took a really long time. The
And see, that's
elimination
my
was fun
favorite kind of mission, for real.
I like it. I just think it takes a little bit too long.
I didn't think that they needed to go with the third round. If they just cut it off at the second round, I thought it would have been a phenomenal mission.
Yep, completely.
I think you figured out a way. Like, I also don't think the second round you need to do the same exact thing. I think you come up with something else for them to do that would have made it so you just had them do it in pairs.
Well, the second round they didn't do the same exact thing. They did kind of like pole wrestle.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, I think the second round you come up with a format that lets you do it in pairs.
Mm-hmm.
And four pairs at a time. Yeah, like maybe I don't know. You figure something out with that. And then just there wasn't that much going on in the house this episode, really.
Like nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's been interesting to see how much we've gotten of like just Nam and Lolo arguing. Like, I feel like we haven't actually gotten that many plot lines of like how is this pair working together. Like, we got a little bit of Jay and Teresa, but for the most part, it's been more so everybody working independently, and who their partner is kind of brushed aside. They've been the only really pair that we've gotten a focus like that.
The dynamic between the two.
Yeah,
I think we have a general sense though. Like,
I mean, for a lot of other people, like, how did Devin and Gabby work together?
Yeah, that's right. We don't know for them. For Nani and Josh, we have an idea that they work well together.
Well, I think with them, it's just like that they're really good friends, which we kind of knew even going into the season.
True. Yeah. And then for ironically, Kyle and Cam, it seems like they work pretty well together. How weird is it a week after Josh gets in the fight with Kyle and Devin, Kyle turns around and throws him and Nani
like a gift. Like,
just put his balls in a zipper. Like, what do we think happened there?
Did what?
Did Cam just be like, look, I'm running the show right now. Just follow my lead.
Basically, Cam revealed what was going on. She's like, I wanted to grab a big brother team so that they would owe me. I needed them to owe me. And that's exactly why Kyle went, oh, okay, Cam, let's do that then.
I wonder if she talked some sense into him being like, look, Josh having a skull and running a final is like the best thing for you.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is, because he's not going to win. Like, there's zero chance he wins a final.
I don't know. I think if there's 5 people in the final, right, and equal chances would be 20% for each. What do you put?
6%.
I was gonna say like 4, and I'm the king of like anybody can win these things. I don't think his skill set suits a final at all.
I was gonna say like 8-10%.
Okay, so I guess we're not overly far off.
Too far off.
But he's like about as low as I would go for somebody who's like on the show and isn't just really? Like, Shailene or Gust out of here.
Like, he and Anissa are like at the same place.
I don't think so. I think it's way more likely that he would win one than Anissa.
I think he's a little bit more likely, just because if he gets picked with like, okay, like let's say Josh is running the final with Cam, and then Anissa's running the final with Fessy. Who do we think? It's just those two pairs for whatever. God, something happens, and it's just those two pairs. What do we give the odds?
Cam are going to be way better than Fessy and Anissa, because we've already seen that like Fessy can't get her to keep up.
Like, Anissa literally, she does not have the physical endurance to compete a final, whereas I think Josh at least has a passing level. You know what I mean? If we're just talking about like a checkbox, yes, no, I think he would go in the yes category, and Anissa would not.
Yeah, like, I feel like he could finish a final. Sure, it would just be very difficult to win it. Like, that's the thing. Like, there are lots of cast members that if they made the final, I'd be like, yeah, no, they can finish this, but I give them low odds of winning.
It's just hard for me to say any definitive statement like that. Like, I think he's about as low as any. I would give the odds for any guy that could be on the show, really.
But it's currently left, or What?
Out of like the current rotation of men competitors that are like somewhat prominent figures in the
dude.
show.
Well, I don't know.
Who's
I guess
lower?
who are the? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Who are the other guys?
You got Fessy, you got CT.
No. I mean, is the out of the current
Bowles.
Let's say
out of the
okay, out
current,
of guys who have done at least 2 seasons from Final Reckoning to now. So we've got
out of the
like
current men on the show who are in the rotation, who are the bottom competitors?
You have to put him. You have to put Michi.
well, I don't even like I was thinking
he's
like
not in
2
the
seasons of time like
Oh, you're
and
not saying like a rookie from this year. You're like someone who's
No.
been around on the show.
Yeah, like it's
Just so we
common.
have
It's
some track
common
record.
they've been on.
I really think he's like the clear
He
like
really might be the
bottom end.
lowest.
Let's name some other people. Let's look down the list.
I'm pulling up the cast right now from the last few seasons just so that I can see this because
I think
Like
Jay
your buddy
is-
Jay, like I think Jay
think
would
Jay's
dust him in a final. Like
we're not talking about. Are we talking about just the final?
yeah.
Are we talking about likelihood to go through the season
No,
and win?
you said if they're showing up at the final and Josh is there. I think he's the lowest out of any of these guys. I
I thought we
actually
were just
don't
talking
think
about
it's
competitors.
no, I thought we were talking about like if Josh lines up in the final against 4 other
Okay.
dudes.
Yeah. No, he is. All right. So he's not beating Jay.
I really don't
What
even
was-
think there's like another person you could name that would be close. Out of two seasons from Final Reckoning.
You have to have at least 2 seasons. I'm with you because like Michi doesn't
like
count.
Kyle would roll him in a final.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle's finished twice, multiple times.
Yeah, but that's like the closest we're gonna get. There's been some pretty good cast.
Jose, maybe.
But Jose's only done 1, and he like
Well, he's done 2, I thought.
no, he only did Final Reckoning. Oh, he did Champs versus, but that's
Oh, that's what it was. That's why I felt like I remembered. Okay, so that really doesn't count. I
Go to
mean,
War of the Worlds too.
like I think like Fessy. Like I think Fessy tortures him in a final.
yeah, same. I mean, Bear is like the only other person. Maybe Gus.
I don't think we can count Bear as part of the current rotation.
All right, fair. Gus really isn't part of the current rotation.
Gus has only done 1 season, and God hoping he never shows up again.
You're about to get more hate tweets.
Yeah, that's fine. My stance is very clear. There really is like legitimately nobody. Like I don't think there's anybody.
Yeah,
who's close.
like looking at the people that have been on at least twice. Like we've had a lot of people that have done 1 season and then they're not coming back. But like you look at this list of people that have done at least 2 seasons, like he's by far the worst.
Like I think Corey would absolutely roll him in a final. I think Hunter's won a season, he'd roll him in a final. Nelson rolls him in a final. All these people would torch him in a
Rogan,
final.
Joss. I mean,
would you say that the bottom tier of the men is much more competitive than the bottom tier of the women in general in the last 3 or 4 seasons?
I mean, if we had a nonsense final, that would
I
be
even think the women who have stuck around are also very good. I think we're just at a high water mark in terms of where the low end of competitor is.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm trying to say. So, well, who would fall into this category for the women? Big T. I think Big T is definitely way worse for the women compared to the men.
You mean Josh as to the men?
Or any of the bottom tier of the men.
The difference between Big T and Josh, though, is that Big T actually is somewhat entertaining instead of making me want to heave a brick through my TV.
I mean, Josh at least gives them content. Like
He
Faith,
gives
we
them
have no real
content.
track record for. I don't think we can really count her, even though she has done 2 seasons. I think like a Kaylee is still like competent at things.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, but I just don't see her winning either. Like, there's
No, but
cannot...
she's the bottom part of the woman too. Like, I think it's just we're at a point where even the bottom end of the competitors looks pretty good.
Like, even the bottom end of the female cast here isn't bad.
No,
we got into this. I think in War of the Worlds too. I completely disagree on Kaylee. I don't think she's competent at all. Like, I think she
won a
for
few
like the equivalent of
eliminations.
the women is worse than Josh.
I don't agree with that. I like it just running a final or in general.
In general,
I disagree with that. I would have been on your boat coming off of Vendettas, but I think on Final Reckoning, War of the Worlds 2, she showed a lot of political savvy, and then also.
Well, we're just talking about being a competitor.
Yeah, but
as
like
far
her
as
and
like
I mean, do we just give all the credit to Cam then for the? I know Final Reckoning has its issues, but they were still able to like win missions and eliminations.
like Final Reckoning isn't a season.
Well, then what track record
Like
are we going off of with Kaylee? What has she
it's
done? She
not
just
part of the
lost
show.
the Purge and World of World 2. That's it. Like that's not a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and she that's what I mean. Otherwise, she hasn't done anything. She hasn't done anything.
But
For
like
the
we're completely discounting one of her seasons. Like I get like it's got its issues, but I mean we have no track record whatsoever. Like in World of World 2, it's all team missions,
Final Reckoning is going to be
and she wasn't even like
the one.
identified as a weak player on her team.
Final Reckoning is going to be the one season that we don't recap.
I want to do Final Reckoning. I like Final Reckoning.
I think we have to just to make fun of how awful it is. It's so bad.
There's plenty of moments on Final Reckoning that are entertaining.
Well,
I'll do it.
You can be the voice of optimism. We will be the voice of fuck this season as we do it.
I'll do it, but we have to do it in one shot. We're gonna do
God, no,
that's not possible.
no.
It's literally
No,
not possible.
It's 20
8-hour
episode.
We're gonna do an 8-hour episode.
Oh,
no, I'll just no.
Trace and I will form our own podcast. You can find 2 other people for that episode.
You know, the only other competitor, to get back on topic, that I can think of that did more than one season for the females that's in that same range is Natalie from Big Brother.
Oh, I don't buy that at all. I thought she made a final on Final Reckoning, was like can run. But she
was not in the house 95% of the season.
Like, what is she bad at? What is she's just small.
She was in the redemption house for almost the entire season, comes back at the very end and goes to the final. I mean,
she's just small. She's not a bad competitor at all, I don't think.
Right, but when you're talking about running a final and stuff, like she never showed anywhere where she was super impressive.
Well, but she did fine in the Final Reckoning final. She just got lost.
Well,
I think
I would still put her in the bottom tier, though. Like, that's the thing. Even though she was fine, I would still stick her right there in the bottom tier.
I think she actually gets kind of overlooked as a competitor. I think she's really like not bad at all.
You just secretly really love Final Reckoning and Vendettas, like just really secretly.
Vendettas, I want to gouge my eyes out as I want to watch Vendetta.
Rob, tell everyone about the wait. Who are the producers of that?
The season? Bad Girls Club.
The Bad Girls Club producers.
Rob, tell everyone about your other podcast about the Bad Girls Club.
This is in production.
Well,
what about like Nani?
She's mid-tier.
Physical ability, yeah.
Like I think Natalie's better than Nani.
Like physically, I think Nani actually is better in a final than she is in the regular part of the season.
Why?
Because she's never done anything in the middle of a season that's like impressive. You know, the only time she ever had any type of real power in the game, and I mean, she's been on 10 seasons. And the only time she's ever shown to have
should be in this category is Zahida. She's technically done 2 seasons, and I don't think she's doing much.
What was the other season she did?
She did 1 and 2. World of Worlds 1, World of Worlds 2. Yeah. She was on.
She's probably the worst.
She like I don't know. Does it really count for those 2? She was there for the first mission, then she left.
What happened to her again?
It counts.
There was that weird episode 2 of World of Worlds 2. They had Zahida and Faith just like leave. She had like a family issue.
Faith.
Yeah. She's
exactly. You don't remember because who cares?
Like, not at all. like no recollection of this happening.
Yeah, I mean it's been a pretty good group lately. I think you have to say.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. So should we actually try to figure something out about this episode to talk about? Because like I will say that the daily I really loved, because I have said this in the past. I'm a huge fan of the big mud pit missions where they're fighting for stuff. Like, I just think those are easy to watch. They're easy to understand. And even though this went a bit long, I'm with you guys. Like, I don't think they needed the 3rd round. I felt like it was too long at that point. But up until that point, I was completely with it.
Was this Kyle's best episode ever?
In terms of entertainment or like performance?
Entertainment.
I don't think it's close to either. I think he's had more entertaining episodes.
Yeah, I think he's had more entertaining episodes, and CT let him win. Like, he wasn't trying super hard.
Oh, he totally let him win.
That was the only thing he did competitively. Like, Cam did everything for the team, like them winning.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I said, as far as entertainment goes, like, I thought it was hilarious.
Okay, go ahead, yeah.
I thought it was hilarious when he was talking with Cam at the, what is it called when they see people's votes?
Chamber?
When they were in the chamber, and he told Cam that Amber B came up to him and asked him specifically to not tell Amber M who she voted for because she voted for Amber M. And then he said that Amber M came up to Kyle and said she doesn't care about anyone else's votes. She wants to know who Amber V voted for. I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Do we think they're foreshadowing something with Amber B here?
They have to, right?
Yeah.
Like,
They don't
why is
show
her
that if there's
content the
not
one that's being
something.
shown so much these past 2 episodes?
Amber M has been pretty much been invisible the last few episodes, hasn't she? Except for that,
Yeah,
I mean,
they've
she's
all
been-
been pretty
But
invisible.
like, she gets more screen time than like Gabby does.
I don't know about that.
Gabby just looks good, and then that's about it.
I'll be honest with you.
She said the
most
content was
episodes-
messy.
Every episode, I forget Gabby's even on the show until 3/4 of the way through and she pops up somewhere. Like, I legitimately forget because she's really not on camera much.
I mean, Amber M's finding a way to stick around here, though. She's going to be safe next episode, too, now.
Yeah. I think we're actually about to see this game really get flipped on its head because up until this point, I wasn't sure how they were going to do the skull thing. And it sounds like they're just going to steal from whomever they want to take it from. So the only way to keep your skull safe is to be in the power position. Like, if you're not there, your skull is at risk.
Yeah.
I'm curious
so,
what people end up taking as the optimal strategy for skull stealing.
Say it again.
Like, who do you think they'll pick skulls from? Just the people they don't like?
Yeah.
I think it will go differently. I mean, I think Fessy might not make the final because he's probably not going to win another challenge. And if you're the last guy's elimination, you're taking Fessy's skull, like, no question, right?
I mean, Kyle was better than him in the final last season.
Yeah, but I think people view Fessy as a more physical threat than Kyle.
I think okay, if we line up if the 5 guys who have skulls now somehow being the 5 who end up running the final, which would be kind of hilarious. How do we power rank them?
Yeah. Or well, I was even going to say out of the men left, like, who do we think would be most likely to win a final?
Oh, Darrell, no question.
Yeah. So
I think
Darrell,
Darrell in a
looks
tier
to
by
be-
himself.
And CT would be still my number 2 because he looks like he's in decent shape. Like, he doesn't look like dad bod CT.
I think I might have Corey at 2, weirdly enough.
I would go with Leroy.
Oh,
I would think about Leroy.
The only thing with Leroy is he's so bad at puzzles, like so horribly bad.
They all suck. We've been through this. They all suck at puzzles.
I don't think I agree with that.
But they all suck
I
at
don't
puzzles.
think I agree with that.
But they all suck at puzzles?
No, I don't agree with that.
CT does not suck at puzzles. He's
CT's
fine.
good, and Fessy won that puzzle at the beginning, so maybe he's fine. Who else is good?
Corey's not.
Devin?
Corey
Devin would be
sucks.
the best puzzle person that's still there.
Corey sucks.
But he's also probably the worst in physical conditioning besides Josh.
Darrell's not.
I honestly don't know if we have enough information to judge a lot of these people about their ability in puzzles, except for passing remarks that we occasionally get. You know what I mean? I think it's really difficult to tell from the information.
Who would qualify for that?
I don't know.
Kyle has been horrific in puzzles. I don't think he's ever done one right.
See, I don't even remember. What evidence do we have? What are we going on?
He in the
The
War of the
daily
Worlds
challenges
one
where
purge,
there's
they had
puzzles involved.
The War of the Worlds one purge when they had the puzzles. He lost to every other guy in the house by a significant mark. Didn't even complete it. Hunter beat him in the puzzle. There was 2 other puzzles he tried to do that season. Didn't do either of those. Let's look back to this now.
Yeah, Corey. The only puzzle he completed was with his cousin or brother or whatever he was, Mitch from.
I mean, he beat Hunter and Nelson on Invasion.
I still can't believe that was a season.
Battle of the Bloodlines.
Dude, they were close to going out of business there. That was.
See, when you guys say we need to skip a season, Bloodlines. There's 5 things we need to hit.
Yeah, well, I still think it's worth talking about because there's a lot going on in that season. But
I don't think there's a lot going on. I just think there's the Jenna Brianna fight and Abram going nuts.
Dude, and then Dario and Rafi.
And Dario, that's true. Dario and Rafi. And then also Tony and his brother fighting.
I said this a while back. When I did my rewatch of Bloodlines back in the fall, it held up better than I thought it would. Like, it's not, I mean, it's still not a great season by any stretch, but it's still entertaining and has enough moments that it's worth still going through it.
Devin, why do you say you'd have Leroy second?
Over who? Over Corey? I've seen Corey gas out too many times. He's
you said
like
second overall after Darrell
for a final, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably have Leroy. Just Leroy because he's a little bit. It seems like his physical endurance is a little bit better than Fessie's.
He also seems to be the most motivated to win as well right now. Though I would not be shocked if someone steals his skull.
I just want nothing to do with Corey in a final. Like I don't have much faith in his ability.
He was good in last season's final. Like he
he gassed out. If any of us
didn't gas out. When did he gas out?
At the end.
No, he didn't. He was losing to Johnny because he wasn't as good in like the events and stuff. And then he passed Kyle, and he saw Johnny won, and he's like, "Well, why am I trying?" And he still finished ahead of Fessy.
There was another comment about his knee last season.
I mean, I'll go back and watch it. He torched everybody in the first day of the final, though.
Yeah, the only hesitation there was
Hold on,
I thought he slept outside.
Yeah, didn't Fessy beat him in the first day?
No, he won, and then he put Johnny against Rogan, and then Fessy and Kyle were outside, and Fessy was complaining because Kyle was talking.
Yeah. Wait, so what happened in the last season's final again?
Corey won the first day.
They had the first day. They cut a ton of stuff out of last season's final.
But the first day was 2 parts, right?
That we saw. It was like the long cross country skiing thing.
That was pretty. There was the. I mean, it was kind of 2 parts because you had to run the stuff back and forth on the skis, and then you also, after you ran it up and forth, you had to like go up the huge hill. But there was evidently a lot more that wasn't shown, like significantly more.
We should have someone rewatch that final, and they can come on and talk with us about it.
I mean, I'll rewatch it if I have to. I really don't want to, but I'll do it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't want to watch this thing.
Like I'm telling you, Corey he didn't gas out. Like he lost. He didn't win. But like, I mean, he didn't win because there was the second day sucked, and it was like very short. And then
he is objectively one of like the worst people at puzzles. I think he's one of the few people that we do have enough information about to make a judgment about his ability.
These other people are also bad.
No, but like I think he's worse. Like
Darrell has no track record of being competent. Leroy has no track record of being
Darrell
competent.
has not done a puzzle the entire challenge career. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Zero puzzles.
We don't have information on a lot of these people, but we do have information about Corey. He is objectively bad. There's no way I will ever be able to get past that moment with him and Nicole in what season was that? Like I'll never be able to get past that.
Counting the triangles.
That was Invasion.
And then how did he do on the math? How did he do on the math part last season? He did terrible, right?
Well, Johnny just got it really fast. That was the difference.
What math part?
The math part at the end of the Total Madness final. Yeah. Johnny just got it really fast, and then once he realized he lost, he just kind of went through the motions and finished.
Because there's going to be that's always going to be a component in the final. Some type of math puzzle.
He can have his partner do the puzzle.
Well, we don't know that there's going to be partners.
I really think there is, but
I'm glad you do because we have a bet. So
we do have a bet about that. I feel much better about that. My bets have not been going very well.
How do you feel better about that?
I've been feeling better about that than some of our other bets.
Well, I mean, some of your other bets.
Yeah, I still maintain that they will start the final as pairs and rotate, and then there will eventually become a solo finish.
Correct.
We shall see.
Agree.
Because they love the drama of people that don't work together well having to work together, and by doing the forced pairs thing where they rotate it, forces conflict, and then they can do a solo for the winner. Like it just, yeah.
Okay, we were talking about puzzles. Would anybody be as bad at puzzles as Michi doing that slide puzzle?
Oh my god,
that was pretty pathetic. That was pretty bad.
What happened? You just stumbled into it at some point, right?
He's just never done one before. Probably, that's my guess. Or he had never practiced doing a slide puzzle. If you practice a slide puzzle, you should be able to solve that.
Yep. Because I
It
remember
didn't
doing
look that
slide puzzles
difficult.
as a kid. Like you would get like the toy from Chick-fil-A or Burger King, and it was a slide puzzle.
It's not even like it was a complicated image at all either. It's a freaking skull that's right behind him.
All he had to do was turn around and look at the skull. That's all he had to do.
Well, I mean, I don't think he even like knew the basic mechanics of how to solve a slide puzzle. About getting all of your like the top row, you have to do that first, and then like cycle through the different rows. I don't think he knew that that's kind of how you had to process it.
But like I even
And I
think
know
you just
Devin was
I mean,
helping him,
but like he Devin
but
couldn't see the puzzle, could he?
No.
No, because he
no,
asked
he
at one
couldn't
point,
see
"Is
the
it a
puzzle.
skull?"
Yeah, no, but he was trying to help give him
Yeah.
tips, and Michi was just like, ah. So, yeah, I mean, I still think that we might have had one of the funniest moments in the history of the challenge with Josh trying to break those things. To watch Darrell and CT and everybody almost pee themselves when that was happening might have made my
I
year.
mean, in terms of overall poor performances in an elimination, like where are we putting this? This is like close to like Corey and Nelson in that soccer elimination on Vendettas, right?
I mean, this legitimately might be the worst one elimination in history. Like it was
In
that
terms of
bad.
combined performance, like if you gave each of them an overall assessment of their performance, like this is not Derek and Joss on Vendettas.
Who are some other ones like that? What's another one
Corey
where
and
both?
Nelson on Vendettas is definitely the one that sticks out, where they're just both terrible.
Dude, I think one of the worst eliminations ever was it was Gauntlet One, and it was Elka versus
I know exactly what you're
who's
talking
the other
about.
woman?
Oh, it was
It's
like
Trishelle, I
was it
think. I think it may have been
no, it was
Elka
like
versus no, because
Cameron
it
and
was Real
was it
World versus Pro
Cameron?
Trolls. It was Elka versus Kara, maybe,
No, it
and
wasn't.
I don't remember who the other one was, but one of them literally just
Oh, it was
fell
Kara.
off, out of boredom. Elka did.
Yeah.
Like they literally just kind of like waved the jousting sticks at each other while they were on the balance beam, and Elka fell in the pool.
I feel like that like barely counts of going back to the gauntlet. Like that's like
Yeah,
people
I
like
feel like you
smoking.
have to go from
Katie's
Inferno
smoking
2
cigarettes in
on.
eliminations at that point. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
From
think you have to
Inferno,
go from Inferno 2 on. There's,
I have
oh my
one.
God.
Well, if we were just talking about worst individual elimination performances,
That
it
one, that one. Like, not
oh
that, I mean, we've had some really bad individual performances where people got just outright smoked, but like Josh won that elimination with that horrid performance.
all right. So both people have to be bad.
I think combined performance. Like if you were like scoring their performance, on like a 0 to 100 scale, what's the worst combined score? One
Uh,
other one that was really bad actually was on War of the Worlds 1. The elimination between Amanda and Josh and Cam and Kane was bad.
I mean, every elimination on Final Reckoning is the worst because they
Well,
had
that's
all the
like worst combined performance.
equalizers.
That's worst
They literally
producer
rigged it so
decision
that the
making.
mercenaries would always come in. Like they did a lot of chicanery in
That's
that.
worst producer decision making. That's a much different category. This is just worst combined performance. What are like
who
Christina
did?
versus Jenna on Bloodlines?
That one's
Uh,
not that bad. Um,
I was gonna say who did Knight and Preston go against
Oh,
in
they went against
Rivals?
Derek and Rob in Rivals 2.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
that
it
one was
wasn't.
pretty bad, wasn't it?
It
From what I
With
wasn't.
that,
remember.
with that, it's kind of hard to do that elimination that poorly. That's like the snapper
Yeah,
elimination when they wave around the sticks. Like I don't think your floor in that one is pretty low.
You
I mean,
know,
your ceiling is high or your floor is high.
Yeah, so your floor is high and your ceiling is low. I don't think there's much range of capabilities there.
Yeah.
Nehemiah versus Ryan was pretty bad because Nehemiah should have smoked him in that
I
thing
just
where
think
they
that's
had to push.
Ryan like performing above his capabilities, though.
But Nehemiah was pretty friggin' awful
I mean, he
up
ended up
until
winning.
I mean, he won, but it was not like impressive.
Who did? Who were some of the early eliminations for the rookies in that season for the men?
Oh, there were some bad ones. For the men, you
Oh no, it's
had
like Frank winning most of them, and Frank's like competent.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
Frank
right.
won, but you had Frank and Tyler in Force Field. You had Jillian versus Angel was it wasn't good, but Jillian at least was decent. Angel was awful.
What about there's got to be something going on in Inferno 3. So one of the worst
I
individual
was just
performances
thinking about that too.
one of the worst individual performances ever in an elimination is Tyree against Alton. Like that's one of like the worst. Like
Yeah,
Tyree Alton has his puzzle finished. It is complete. The
Tyree's like
elimination is
trying to
over,
grab his first
and
block.
Tyree's are just like scattered across the floor still.
He like hasn't grabbed his first block yet.
yeah, it was pretty bad. And it was also like that one where Alton just smoked Adam in the gauntlet too. Like it wasn't even close.
Who?
Davis and Danny's performance in that was really shitty in Inferno 3 as
And they're
well.
just like they're like running around on like ladders and stuff. That's not
Yeah,
even
it was
good.
like the Nick Arcade show. Like it was just so bad.
Someone's gonna message us with a couple, and we're gonna be like, "Yeah, that's."
What
That's
about like? I mean, this
The Luke
is
Big
just a hard one to
Easy
assess
slap fight
performance
was
of.
pretty bad.
What about Jenna versus Anika on Invasion? When we had to grab the coconuts and jump off from
Oh,
the
that was
platform.
fine. That was fine.
The elimination itself was so dumb.
It was a dumb elimination, but it was fine.
Like
Like I
that, that's
didn't
like
think
one
it
of the
was.
2 or 3 worst eliminations ever. At least for Inferno post Inferno 2 era.
I'm
I mean,
trying to think.
I still don't even get what they were measuring.
what. What about Nani versus Georgia? And
That's not a that again is that would be my pick as the worst elimination ever. Like that's West being bad.
that one's
Yeah,
pretty bad.
That's a
that one's
really
really
bad
bad.
elimination. That's a bad like they that's a like a black mark elimination. That was really bad. What about like Latoya versus Jemmy on Free Agents?
That was what I was honestly about to say. Balls in of Latoya versus Jimmy is like Latoya won an elimination. Like, oh, it was against Jimmy. Oh, and it was physical. Okay, that makes sense. I would also put John A and Emily from Cancun as pretty bad from that season too. Because
What did
Emily's
they
just
do?
horrible.
Oh, you know what's actually a really bad one? The pole wrestle that Sean and Idris did is like by far the worst pole wrestle of all time in World of War.
Oh
6.
yes, I vividly remember us
Like you can
joking
just
about it
clearly
on the
tell. They're like playing
podcast.
like Ring Around the Rosie.
Oh, that was bad.
So I think that I honestly think the Nelson Corey one should be number 1. Like that was so pathetic. Like it was like I mean
From
like
Final Reckoning?
no from Vendetta, the soccer elimination. Where they do have like the penalty shootout with a flaming ball because of course it has to be on fire, and like they can't even like get it across halfway. Then they end up just not even having them be goalies for each other. They just like kick the ball.
Have they started to pull a cast together for next season for the regular part of the show?
No, I think they're gonna wrap up this OG stuff first and then move on to that.
I mean, availability calls have gone out, but like that's it.
Out of West, Johnny CT, how many of them do we think show up next season?
Wes is definitely not.
West has been pretty adamant he's not going to. Maybe he's trying to pull Ruins again, but that did not go very well for him.
I bet one of the other two. Like I would bet one of them do it.
I would bet CT over Johnny right now. I don't think Johnny's done with the show, but I think because of his commitments to all these other things he's doing, and with COVID still like dictating weird travel schedules for his main gig as the host of the NBC show, I think until the world gets a little more normal, it's going to be hard for him to do the show.
Man, how nuts would it be if none of the 3 of them were on?
I think the ratings would bear that out.
I don't know if the race would bear that out significantly. I was curious. What was last season none of them did? It would have to be
Dude, fresh meat. No,
Wes is on
Duel
Fresh
2. Well, CT was on Duel 2 for an episode.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Do we count
Battle of
CT
the
being on
Seasons?
Duel 2?
Yeah,
No,
Battle
Wes
of the
was on Battle of
Seasons.
the
No, Wes
Wes
was on Battle of the Seasons. He was only on the first episode, but he was there.
Yeah, what do we count? Do we count CT as being on the Duel 2? He didn't compete in anything.
I mean, he was on the show for an episode, so I think it counts.
Yeah,
He didn't make an impact. I mean,
He
since
was
then it's
on
been
that as
since
much as Wes was on season or Battle of the
You
Seasons.
seriously
it's
have
not
to
that, it's
go
Gauntlet
all the
2,
way
isn't it?
back to the Gauntlet 2 before one of those three isn't on it.
Yeah, that's TJ's first season. You have to go all the way back there.
Yeah, Fresh Meat until now, at least one of them has been in at least one episode of each
I
season.
mean,
as a
that makes
competitor.
sense when you think about it, even just in your head. So, I mean, really not much to say about this episode. Like, it's just really nothing happened in the house, right?
How crazy is it though that Josh and Nani got exactly what they wanted? It's just crazy that they're
Yeah, I know it
and
is
Kyle.
nice it worked out that way.
Cam and Kyle couldn't get like they couldn't get anything better. Like they couldn't think of any better offer to take instead of this.
I just think it's that they want them around.
Yeah.
Like
I
Kyle
mean,
could, like if they ran the final right now with these 5 guys, you can make an argument Kyle's the favorite.
yes, you really can make that argument.
And I don't think that would have been the case. Nam is a big question mark, but it's definitely not the case with CT. Definitely not the case with Leroy. I don't think it'd be the case with Corey. Like I think that it makes a lot of sense.
You don't think Kyle would beat Corey in a final?
I think it'd be close. I think
I was
he's
thinking that.
So rank. All right. So just go top to. All right. So who do you think Corey would do better than? Name all the people you think Corey would do better than.
I mean,
That's
Josh
left.
for sure. I think he
Josh
beats Devin.
definitely. I think he'd do better than Devin.
Yeah. I think a lot of these guys are really just the same
Because
type of player.
I think this is the same like same thing as Swaggy C last season. I think we're really just talking about one, maybe two people that we think there's a difference.
I don't even think it's that. I just think they're all like in a really close grouping. Like I think that Darrell's the clear favorite. I think Josh is clearly the worst, and then I think everybody else, Nam is just such a question mark. I'd have Corey ahead of him, but like you can.
To me, if you take Darrell out of the final, if he doesn't make it, other than Josh, it's wide open.
I think at that point, I think it becomes much more about what happens with the partners.
Yeah, for real. Because I mean, if you eliminate Darrell, well, we're going to pretend Darrell goes home, and everybody else is still a live bait to be in the final. You've got CT, Corey, Devin, Fessy, Josh, Kyle, Leroy, and Nam. I would put them all. I mean, there's a couple people in that. Like I would have Devin and Josh on the bottom, but everybody else, it's like wide open. Like I could conceivably see any of the rest of those guys winning.
I'd probably have Nam third from the bottom of that group just because, like there's just a track record, like not just a track record, but like a lack of challenge IQ with him compared to everybody else by distinct.
What are you talking about? He just like schooled everyone in that mission today. That's the definition of challenge IQ.
The relic. Like I don't think that was.
No, but he had the strategy he was the first person to like employ the strategy of not letting everyone know that he had the relic.
I mean, sure, but like I don't think that's not that
dude.
innovative.
You've got to be kidding me.
I'll give him that, but he still doesn't.
Is that super innovative thinking to not immediately scream out like
Nani did? It's not super innovative, but I give him enough challenge IQ to play possum. Like I'll give him that. So, is he still where I think he should be on my ranking? Absolutely, I still think he's third from the bottom. But even the blind squirrel can find a nut every now and then.
I don't know. Like so this would be mine. I think it's probably like Darrell, Leroy, Fessy, CT, kind of like I don't know. Like those three are probably like all in one group for me. I agree that Darrell is number one. Then it's like Fessy, Leroy, CT, Kyle. Like I even put Kyle in there, kind of.
I just don't see it as much.
Yeah, I think all of them are kind of in the same. I put all of them in the same group, and then I put Corey a tier below, and then I put Josh probably. I don't think Corey's in the same tier as the rest of those guys. And then I guess I put Devin in the same tier as Corey.
Yep.
I think Corey would roll Devin in the final. Like I know Devin's better than a puzzle, but like I think Corey just outruns him.
Of the eliminated men, I would only give Josh a chance of beating two of them in a final that went home. Like I would give, like, I think Josh could beat Joseph just based on that crap we saw.
He wasn't that bad.
And he could beat
Michi.
That's it. Like
I mean,
Jay
we
would
don't
beat
know.
him. Leo Rush
We
would
haven't
beat
seen
him.
Leo do anything. He could beat one of these people. Who knows?
He's definitely in shape. He's much better shape than Josh is.
I really think if the final's going to come down to how these pairs shake out, and maybe they just run it as individuals, and then it's not. But I really think outside of Darrell, all these guys are in the same bucket. Fessy, honestly, I can see Fessy being more towards the bottom compared to anybody. We just don't. Like, he finished second in the first day on last year's final, but it seemed like he was a decent bit behind Corey, and the second day he was bad.
Yeah, I think what's going to be very interesting is that you're more than likely not going to run the final with the same partner the whole time, because with the skull stealing, I mean, I think that there are going to be 2 people left out in the cold for the final episode.
I think that it's just going to be 5 and 5.
No, I'm with you. It's going to be 5 and 5, but I'm saying that on the last episode, 2 people will not have skulls and be sent home.
See, I just think those 2 people, like, I don't know how they'll fix that, because, like, do they have them run a mission that's somewhat of a formality? I mean, a lot of these missions are formalities, but, like, it's really a formality like that?
They kind of left some foreshadowing with it today.
I mean, they said the word steal like 24 times in the last 10 minutes of the show.
Well, they said steal, and then they also had that conversation between all the men about how they thought there would be people left at the end that
that's true.
Didn't have a skull that would just go home, and that they would be around for the entire season and not have a chance. Who do we think? I feel like for the women's side, it's much less interesting if we do the same exercise, right? Because it's Lolo, and then
I don't think it's Lolo. Why is it Lolo?
You don't think she's the favorite in a final?
No, I don't think she's the favorite in a final.
Oh my god, dude, Trace!
She has
in a final. If she makes the final, I give her the edge.
Over everybody?
I still don't think she's going to get there. I just do not think she's going to make the final.
I understand. I would not have her as the favorite.
I would have her as the favorite.
Who do you have as the favorite?
I'd have Teresa and Casey over her, and I'd have her 3.
All right, let's bet this. Let's figure out a bet.
We've already discussed how this is not like something you can bet, really. If we get to the final, they're both there, then sure, we can bet it.
Yeah, so we can bet if Lolo wins the final. So if Lolo and, let's say, Teresa, I would feel much more comfortable about Teresa than I would.
If they get to the final, sure, we'll have a bet on. Well, but also we don't know how the pairs are going to shake out. That's what I'm saying. We just won't. That's literally a bet. If we get to the final, we'll make the bet. Well, let's wait and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think you do. Wait to the final to make the bet.
Why would the pairs affect it if they're just going to rotate the pairs?
Because I don't think they're going to. And if Lolo's paired with Darrell and Teresa's stuck with Josh, then I'll feel a little better about Lolo.
Well, I mean, we could just make some qualifier.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let's just wait till we get there. Well, why do we need to do it now?
I just don't think I would. I don't think it's close. Well, I don't know.
Why isn't it close? What has Lolo done that's been impressive at all?
She's an Olympic athlete.
That's fine. She can be an Olympic athlete all she wants. That's not completely
smoke everybody endurance-wise. She'll, especially the female cast. I mean, she'll smoke the endurance.
She's also older too. She's what, 38?
She just made the American team again for the World Championships.
What is her event?
Like, she's still one of the best in the world at track and field.
It's a 60-meter hurdle.
Still one of the best in the world.
Look,
you're gonna lose that one, bud.
So you have Casey and Teresa ahead of her. Okay.
Yeah, I'd have her 3.
Yeah, although tonight was the first glimpse you got of how Lolo can be a bit.
I mean, it was not the first glimpse. She hasn't done any. She's been arguing with Nam the whole season. Poor guy.
That's true, but that could just be partner stuff. Like, tonight was the first night, like with the Teresa, the Anissa stuff, and that kind of thing. She did not come off well.
How much she kind of made some remarks that made it sound like she's been trying to like tone it down a little bit as far as her competitive ability.
I mean, she did not come off well at all on Champs versus, but she was entertaining.
Yeah,
much more entertaining.
She came off like a loon, like a complete and utter loon on the Champs season.
Well, I'm just talking about is a competitor this season. She I think had a confessional where she talked about how she was trying to, I guess, not show all her cards. Right? Didn't she say that?
Something like
I
that.
don't
Yeah.
recall that. I
And
think
even on her
I heard
champ
her saying
season,
like she didn't. I wouldn't buy that at all because she's worried now she's not going to be able to like win a mission and even get put in
Yeah,
elimination.
that was around the same point in time because it was talking about how she's been trying to like not show everything, but now she realized that because she initially thought that it was going to be that everyone was going to want to throw her in right away, but then when she heard what the format of the show was, she started to gradually realize that, oh, they're just never going to put me in because they don't want me to be in the final.
nope.
I just don't think that works typically. I mean, look, we've only had one season of sample size, but I just think eventually they win. And then also, like, once you get to the point where it's like 2 or 3 people don't have skulls, the people with skulls don't want to go in.
I don't know. I feel like it's going to get to a point where if it's toward the end of the season and you have a skull and Amber M is one of the people left, you may be better off just championing to go into Amber M if you could. You know what I mean? Like I could almost see a situation like that.
I mean,
Instead
I
of
think it makes
risking,
sense if you're the power team and you have the
yeah.
skull to just put another skull in. Like, I don't see why you want to just give people skulls.
And I think we will see that play out. Like, I really wouldn't be surprised if Leroy or Cam, well, probably Cam, pulls a move where she throws 2 skulls in just to see what happens. Like, I would not be shocked.
Fessy had a really good observation about how he knew that he wasn't going to go into elimination at the end of the episode because he knew Kyle wouldn't want him to go in, win, and then ditch Anissa as a partner because he knew that that's what he would do.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I just think once Casey wins, she's going to pick up Fessy, probably, right?
I don't think she's going to leave Darrell.
No. Well, no, she's not with
leave
Darrell.
Leroy. I mean, maybe
She's
not.
with
Maybe
Leroy.
she'll stick with Leroy. That's true.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
somebody else could take Leroy. It'll be interesting to see once the women get to take somebody. We haven't seen the women get to take anybody yet at all. It's always been the men.
Yeah, this is the first female rogue agent we've had all season because of all the problems they've had keeping just females from going home.
And it sounds like Kim and Leroy don't have any intention of choosing each other as partners throughout the rest of the season.
No, and that's smart.
I mean, they don't have any intention of going in probably for the rest of the season, which would be a significant factor.
If anything, right now, if you have a skull, you should be extremely motivated to try to win every daily to keep people from stealing your skull.
Yeah, but
like,
I think everybody should be pretty motivated to win every daily.
Some of them are not.
I suppose, but I think that's more of a lack of motivation, and that first is the only person who gets anything out of it daily. Like if you get 5th instead of last, who cares?
No, I hear you, but I think with the skulls being in play to be stolen, like, okay, so-and-so wins the elimination, they can pick any one skull other than the skull that's in the power spot. You know, being passive works very much against you in this moving forward.
So do you think all the guys that don't currently have skulls, do you think they're just eyeing Devin right now to try and go in against him?
You know that's what Darrell's doing.
See, I think
Darrell's
I think they're just probably going to get put in against each other, right? And then they'll just have to pick somebody to steal from.
No, I think you can go in against someone that currently has a skull.
I'm sure you can, but I think one thing I did think was interesting was during the deliberation when Michi was saying he didn't want to go in. I kind of got his point in that he was hoping somebody else would want to. You know what I mean? Like CT was complaining about not being able to go in. Like maybe CT just wants to go in.
Yeah. Well, CT has lots of reasons to want to go in. Big T will lose, so then he gets another partner, or he wins and gets a skull, or he goes home.
But why didn't during the deliberation? Why didn't he say put me in?
Because he may have, but he already knows they're just not going to put him in because they don't want him in a final.
Like they're not going to just vote him in as the house vote?
Yeah,
no.
And I mean, it's possible
they don't want to give him an opportunity to get one.
It's possible that he said put me in. You know what I mean? We don't know.
Cut it out, yeah.
Like
they have like everybody looked at Michi like he was so ridiculous for saying that. But like I don't think it was that crazy to just say, hey, if anybody else wants to go and speak up, because I don't want to.
He's also CT's been very vocal, I guess, throughout the season about how he thinks that none of the men want to see him in a final. I think we've gotten that in multiple episodes.
Mm-hmm.
What did we think about him saying he was going to stick with Big T for the rest of the season?
That's a lie.
Good for him.
Like,
I mean, I think in his mind he thinks that he's fine making that promise because he knows that the women are eyeing Big T as the key to their skull, and so he's not going to have to pull the trigger on that gun.
okay, sure, but what if he gets put in before Big T does?
I mean, he's going to be happy.
Yeah, he'll be extremely happy and he'll pick a new partner. Like won't even hesitate.
It seemed somewhat
I don't.
unnecessary.
I think Big T's just going to get knocked out eventually. Because it's not like Big T's going to make the final. Who's Big T going to beat here?
Well, do we think they just keep
Amber M?
reduxing these eliminations?
I don't know. There's actually some people here that Big T might be able to win, right? Like she
What
may
if
be able
she goes
to,
up against Amber M?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like she may be able to beat Amber M. She may be able to beat Gabby Allen, depending on what the elimination is.
Yeah, we just don't know. We don't really have much of a track record of them as a competitor. Like, what have we even seen them do? But then also, if they're gonna keep repeating these eliminations, are they just gonna keep re-rolling all of these?
There's a lot of stronger women that have already gone home to this point. Tori, Natalie, Nicole, Ashley, and it's left a lot of the women that would normally go home in the earlier part of the season left on the cast.
Yeah, Cam, I will give Cam all the credit in the world for the political game she has played thus far. You know, in past seasons, I felt like she made big moves when she didn't need to, or she made them too early. And it seems like she's really learned from her mistakes that she made in the past, and she's really strategically picking off the right people. And she's also gotten pretty lucky that Natalie got disqualified. And
yeah, I think that's more what it is. I think that this has been like, I think her political game is usually almost even better than this one. And then this time around, she's just had, like, she didn't want Ashley to go in the second time. She just had to beat her. And then, I mean, she's had Natalie just leave. She had Nicole leave. She didn't try to. Well, she actually did vote for Anissa, so maybe she was a little bit behind Tori getting sent home.
Yeah. I mean, it's a situation where, I mean, with any challenge season, getting to a final a lot of times is just dumb luck. I mean, there's this definite component of that, but I think that she's done enough strategy moves where she's not really, the people that are pissed off at her have no power. Like Teresa has zero leverage with anybody. And so it just is.
Do we think there's going to be a move made at Toxic T next week?
It certainly seems like they're showing that up.
I mean, I feel like it's almost a given that she is going to go in, but I also think they could pull a move and just not ever let her go in. You know what I mean?
I just think that's so infeasible in practice.
Does anyone argue with Toxic T versus Lolo, including Lolo?
I mean, Teresa argues with Toxic T versus Lolo, probably.
Outside of Teresa,
I don't see. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think that they.
I think everyone.
Does anybody argue it?
I think everyone else on the cast is probably fine with that.
Yeah, but I also think if there's a situation where everybody shouldn't be fine with anything in most circumstances.
I know, but a lot of the times that's the way it turns out.
Like I think it seems like Teresa's relationship with that younger girls group has kind of been splintered, unfortunately for her.
Gone, evaporated.
She voted against Amber M this week, so
she doesn't have a relationship with any of the women at this point, does she? Like, what woman does she?
Anissa's the only one.
Yeah, Anissa, and that's it, right?
Yeah. I thought it was a really good move on Anissa to go back and talk to Lolo.
Oh, totally.
Like, I thought that was a like, that's when you've been on the show this long. That's something that you know to do.
Yeah, that's an appropriate way to handle this situation. All right, what else do we have?
Power rankings.
One thing I did think was, one quick thing I've noticed, they've had these confessionals of Cam with his super short haircut, and her hair clearly is not that length for right now.
Wigs.
Is it
totally wigs, man? She wears wigs.
Oh, that's right. She has a wig company. What am I talking about? I'm out of my mind. Man.
Did you notice that? One more thing before we do the power rankings. Did you know that Kyle and Devin wore the exact same shirt with the exact same chain in this episode?
They're
No,
just
I
all
didn't
sharing
notice.
clothes, aren't they?
They both wore this like white polo shirt with this chain that looked like the uh, top of the staff from Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Did you
Which you can actually see that exact movie prop at Disney World at a bar. Like there is a bar that the actual top of the staff of Ra is in.
how great was Devin booing while Josh was cheering after he won the elimination?
I missed it.
Oh, you missed that? I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how pumped Josh was. Like he had just like beaten the world, and it was like, dude, you were pathetic. Like if
Cotton
you had been
Jordan.
against anyone halfway competent, you probably would have lost.
Probably. Almost assured. Like, what do we think happened there? Was he just bad? Like, did he not realize where he was supposed to throw the balls, or what?
I think first he wasn't throwing hard enough, and two, he wasn't looking at his puzzle to see which squares he was supposed to throw at, because after he went back and looked at the puzzle, he started hitting them. So somebody in the peanut gallery told him, "Hey Josh, look at your puzzle."
Do we think Lolo's for sure great with physical contact?
What bet do you want to make right now?
I don't know if
Dude,
we can make it.
She's just bigger than the other women. She's 5'9". I think we have this one in our spreadsheet.
Easily in the best shape, like not even a question.
How much bigger is she than Cam?
What's Cam's last name?
Williams.
Williams challenge.
This is a very fruitless effort. I just thought I thought the stuff with Anissa was like not great, and also like there was kind of like a lack of an instinct there. I thought was notable.
No one's like thinks that she's no one thinks highly of her because of her political ability. She's 5'6".
Well, that's not
so
political ability. Like when she was pissed
So
at
she's
Anissa
3
for
inches
choking
shorter.
her. When I mean they're in a physical elimination, all getting thrown around.
she's
I do
3
love
inches
too how
shorter.
Lola was like, "Oh, if we were outside the house, then I would have like fought her." I'm like, "Yeah, and outside the house, when is somebody choking you from behind?"
Lolo Jones. I think Lolo Jones is she's 5'9". So what is 62 kilograms? What is that in pounds?
Google.
Someone do it real quick.
That on the show. We could use a Canadian on the show right now. I was 136.
And Lolo's range for weight is 135 to 160. Or 135 to 160. Guess where she went to college?
I have no clue. Should I know this?
No, it's interesting. I didn't know this. She went to LSU.
Oh wow.
Is that a big track and field school? What would you guess?
I think so.
So if
I
had to
guess
guess,
it'd be like UCLA would be like a big track and field school.
yeah, like if I had to guess the biggest track and field schools, like I would just guess like the biggest
Anything
state
California.
schools,
I would have
state
said
schools.
USC.
I bet you Florida has a good track and field school. Do you think or no?
Yeah, okay, so actually here are the top bunch. Stanford is number 1.
I was going to say that.
USC, Baylor, University of Florida, Princeton,
There we go.
Clemson, Georgia, Florida State, woohoo, Oregon, UCLA, Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Ohio State. So
Arkansas.
The majority of the best are on the West Coast.
I mean, we would have hit all of those except for
Arkansas. I definitely would not have gotten.
I would never in a
Arkansas.
million years have picked Arkansas or Texas A&M.
Or Baylor.
I could have gotten Texas A&M. Texas A&M has a super good athletic department.
Yeah, they're really into athletics. It's Baylor and Arkansas are the ones that we would have gotten.
Yeah, that was the two I wouldn't have gotten.
Georgia, like I could have seen us guessing. That was another one that came to mind.
FSU, I thought, just because I remember they went to the national championships a couple times when I lived in Tallahassee, so I would have assumed they were decent.
Like if this list went to 25, I bet Florida
we would
State
hit most of them.
Yeah.
Devin, what would you set the blind odds on a KC versus the elimination?
Elimination?
Yeah. Not knowing what it is.
you want the probability? Like, who do I
Sure.
think the uh like 65-35. Between 60, you're also picking like the person that I think is probably the second best at eliminations in the house, like all
That's
around.
the reason I said her. I think
Like between like 60-40 and 65-35, like right around there.
so. Like out of the ones we've done, I think Lolo is super good at the fire escape one. That like Natalie and Ashley and Leroy and Jade. I think she tortures anybody in that. Ring of Spies. I think her and Casey would be close in that, in like a pole wrestle type elimination.
Which one?
The one that Joseph and Kyle did.
What's Casey's last name? Cooper?
Clark. It's not
Clark.
Cooper.
Close.
Cooper is a very different Casey that would have like a 5% odds.
I think we have this one in the spreadsheet too. I just need to pull this up while
Are these accurate though? She just get her like football stats.
she's 5'10. So she's actually taller.
Casey?
Yeah.
No way. She's not 5'10.
You don't think?
No. You think she's 5'10?
She's pretty tall.
Casey? I don't think she's that tall compared to like Cam or Lolo.
I don't think Cam's that tall. We know Cam isn't tall. Casey's definitely taller than Cam for sure.
Tracy, what do you think? I'm horrific with heights.
We know this.
I can't picture them in my mind, so I don't know that I have an opinion right now. That's a punt, but I really can't think about it. Like, I really can't even think through what that looks like.
Here, I'm going to do Casey Clark, women's. So my
like it's hard to tell with this picture, but she's shorter than Jay in this picture.
My friend was telling me about a while ago. He was telling me about how he like has a CBD company, and they sponsor this women's football league in Texas. I think I don't know if it's Texas or if it's everywhere or where they play. Guess who purchased the football league or who the owner of the football league was?
I don't know, Vince McMahon.
Mike Ditka.
Wow, really? That
Super random, right?
Okay, like this thing says Casey's 5'6".
Where is it? Which one are you looking at?
It's the celebrity heights.
I think she's definitely taller than. All I know is I think she's taller than Cam.
I don't know. We're not getting anywhere with this, apparently.
All right, we're gonna fly through power rankings right now. So mine are gonna be Fessy, Darrell, CT for the men, Casey, Lolo, Cam for the women, and then overall it's gonna be Fessy, Casey, Darrell. Who's up?
I'll go Darrell, CT, Leroy, and then I go Casey, Cam, Nani.
Okay.
All right. I'll go
Overall.
Okay.
Darrell, CT, Casey.
Okay, so far completely unchanged for the both of us. Rob?
I'll go Darrell, CT, Leroy. For the women, I'll go Cam, Teresa, Amber B. So I'll switch the two of them. And then I'll go Darrell, Cam, CT.
Okay.
Yeah, we learned nothing new in this episode to affect those power rankings.
No, it's not like any of us had Michi up in our power rankings. or Josh getting a skull changes anything.
I texted this to our thread, and I'll let everybody that's listening to the show know, like, I had such a mind screw with that elimination because I just could not believe that Josh smoked the slide puzzle the way he did, the way they edited it at least. But then when
Kyle commented on it too, that's like the fastest he's ever seen someone complete a puzzle.
I know, and I was like, yeah, it looks really easy. And then Michi just couldn't do it.
Yeah. And then like watching Josh fail miserably with a medicine ball through paper I could not wrap my head around it. Like, I just could not understand why he could not look at his puzzle and pick up a little medicine ball and just chuck it. And the way he was throwing it was just so awkward and clumsy that I was just like, is he really going to let Michi come back? But Michi was so hopelessly lost on the puzzle, it didn't matter. But like, and then the fact that Josh won a skull and won an elimination with that, it was just another mind screw moment. Cause I'm like, did he really just, no, he really just did that. Oh my gosh. And then to watch him gloat about it, it just like, I could not.
I don't think he was
compute
gloating.
everything
I think you actually fair to say he wasn't gloating. He was just like celebrating finally winning an elimination.
Sure. Okay. We'll call it that. My mind could not process all of that and like make sense that just happened.
Like, I bet you watching this back now, he realizes like how much worse he looked than doing it in the moment. Like, he probably doesn't even think he looked that bad in the moment.
I'm looking him up on Twitter right now. I want to see if he's commented on this because, like, I just cannot.
I never checked to see if Orlavsky messaged me back. Rob,
We don't need to rehash that situation.
let's see what Orlavsky's doing.
I'm sure he's got better things to do.
Dude, ask him to come on the show.
But he's on ESPN. He has better things to attend to, like pumping up the ramps now that Stafford's on.
How much do you think Orlovsky makes per year?
That's a good question. I really don't know.
It's going to be way less than you think.
All right,
I
so
was gonna
Josh
say
on
like
Twitter.
300K. You think it's that? You think it's way less than that?
I bet it's less than that.
Really?
I don't know about
All right.
way less, but I bet it's less.
He's on TV a lot.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so Josh on Twitter, he's retweeted a bunch of people, but he has 2 tweets where he specifically like addresses the elimination outcome. The first one is the medicine balls were heavy ass fuck, I swear. Not as ass. So he did that. But he's got his face covered emoji and crying emoji. And then he says, damn, that wind feels nice with praying hands. So at least publicly, he's laughing at himself with it, but then congratulating himself in the next tweet. So that's about what I figured.
If we gave an over/under, how many of the eliminations involve fire from here on out? Like, what percentage?
100%.
It's a little much with their pyrotechnic staff these days.
You know, I thought when TJ said that he stepped up this elimination, I thought it was going to be like
the
some
medicine balls were
incorporation
on
of
fire.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I can't do it with the fire anymore.
Is TJ just a closet? What are they called?
Pyromaniac.
Arsonist?
Oh, I'm arsonist. Wow, I was just saying a pyromaniac. Maybe both. I have a very poor history with fire, so I could do with less fire.
All right, guess. All right, we're guessing Dan Orlovsky's college. I'm going to guess Michigan. What's your guess? I don't think that's right, though.
Michigan. I was gonna, is it really Michigan? And he played in Detroit.
No, where did he play? He played some garbage school.
Wait, did he get drafted? Was he undrafted? Like, how did he get in the league?
I think he got drafted. He went to he didn't go to Law Tech, but he went somewhere like that. I'm going to look it up. He went to...
It's going to be hard to get him on the show now that you're taking shots at him on Twitter.
He went to University of
Twitter
Connecticut.
account like the past 6 years.
I think he was part of the Connecticut team. Like, they had one good stretch, like maybe ever. And it was when... What was that guy's name who became the coach of Maryland? What's that guy's name, Trace? You know who I'm talking about?
Man, we're down to like 4% of our viewers at this point.
Yeah, they're gone by now.
All right, let's get the hell out of here.
I don't even know. Let's just get out.
All right. Thank you for listening. We appreciate everyone who follows the show. We do really appreciate all the ratings and reviews that we've been getting on iTunes. If you haven't left one yet, we would cherish the time that it would take for you to do so. And if you would be so kind to leave one, you can reach us at thechallengechronicles@gmail.com for any questions, comments, or concerns. Look out for the OGs episode, which will probably be out next season. Won't make next week. We won't make any
Next
promises.
season might be
but
more
we hope to have
appropriate
it
with how our time is.
there. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.